and gentlemen.
Opinions over statistics, of course. Gassed off journalistic. Come at me and all you'll get is the ballistic report.
Do I know how to make an intro or what? Welcome to the Ballistic Show. I'm your town host, Ike Moore, and this is the show where we break down pop culture. Now, I'm going to let you guys know up front, there's a chance this will be a shorter episode today. Not a lot has happened in the world of entertainment this week, but I did manage to crank out 3 reviews for you in TV, movies, and music. And we're not going to waste any time. We're going to go straight into it. First, on the TV side, last night was the premiere of Tracy Morgan's new show, The Last OG. Now, before I get into the show itself, we should all collectively thank the good Lord himself that a man like Tracy Morgan is still with us today. For those of you who don't remember, he was in a serious car accident back in 2014 that nearly ended his life. But with pure grit and determination, he was able to come back swinging. In my opinion, it's one of the greatest comeback stories of the past few years. Seeing him get back on his feet and get back to doing what he loves, making the public laugh. And it's worth noting that this new show, The Last OG, is not only executive produced by Tracy Morgan, it was also created by Jordan Peele. And for those who don't know who he is, you must be living under a rock. He is the Academy Award-winning screenplay writer and director of Get Out. You know, that movie that made some of y'all feel uncomfortable, but it's alright. But don't forget, that same man gave us Key and Peele, and he also did some work on Mad TV. So this man knows what he's doing when it comes to comedy. And you combine that with an all-star cast that includes Tiffany Haddish and Cedric the Entertainer, you could have a hit show on your hands. So with all those chemicals poured in, how does the show hold up? Honestly, for a first show, it did its job. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I got to keep it real with you. Did I enjoy this episode? Of course I did. I had a good time watching it. However, don't go into it thinking that you're going to be laughing your guts out right away. From what this first episode tells me, and again, it could always change, this was just the first episode, it seems to me that this show is going to be more story-based and the jokes are going to come organically. They're not going to force any humor into it. I remember when I reviewed Black Panther, one of the things I said was, while it is a superhero movie and there's a lot of action in it, that's not really the focus. It's more story-based. It's a lot like how I feel about this show. This show is more going to be story-based. And while you'll definitely be laughing along the way, you're more so going to be focused on the story. And let's get into the story. It follows an ex-con named Trey who, after 15 years in prison, comes back to Brooklyn and he notices the neighborhood isn't exactly how he left it. He also notices that his ex-girlfriend Shannon, played by Tiffany Haddish, is kind of living a new lifestyle, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. So the show focuses on him trying to be a better man and somehow reconnect with his ex. Now, without giving too much away and relying on minor spoilers, the main thing I love about this show already is I love Tiffany Haddish, and that's not necessarily surprising, but what I love about her performance in this, different from, say, her performance in Girls Trip, she's a little bit more controlled, and while she has funny moments as well, it's not necessarily as outlandish as some of her interviews as of late and her stand-up. And I think it's great that she's showing this much range this early in her career, or at least her mainstream emergence, if you will, because as we're going to talk about in this next story, it's showing that she's a little bit more, there are more layers to Tiffany Haddish, and I'm glad that she's showing it. I can also say the same for Tracy Morgan. He's controlled as well. He's not necessarily the Tracy Morgan you would see on 30 Rock. He has a more clear character, and you can really feel that he's actually trying to make a difference this time around. I can already tell we're going to be rooting for this character. We're going to want him to succeed, and that tells the greatness of a character when you actually want him to achieve his goal. Especially with the big reveal at the end of the episode, which I won't give too much away. It definitely adds another layer to the story, and it's going to be interesting to see how they interplay that with everything else going on. Also, shout out to Cedric the Entertainer. You can't go wrong with Cedric, man. He plays the owner of the halfway house that Trey is living in, and when his scene came on, it just brings a smile to your face. So it's great to see Cedric always pop up in these things. So as far as this episode goes, it does its job. It introduces the whole storyline, the characters, and it's going to be interesting to see, because one of the things I always wonder about is when ex-convicts get out after X amount of years in jail, I always wonder how they integrate with the world that they're in now. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Trey's character. Of course, I would not know anything about that because I'm not wanted for any crimes, at least not that I know of currently. Surprise, we have another Tiffany Haddish story. This involves the new movie she's in with Kevin Hart called Night School. The first trailer dropped yesterday, and it's more of a meh for me. And now let me explain before any of you guys jump in my DMs and call me a hater, which I am not. For all I know, this movie will be gut-busting hilarious. I mean, they have two of the funniest people in the world, Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish. So you can't really fail. And for what it's worth, I rewatched the trailer countless times before recording, and you know, some of the jokes in it do make me laugh, and it's not terrible by any means, but I can't help but think that they are saving some stuff, which is always good. You never want to give out too much up front. From the looks of it, it looks like Kevin Hart's character has to go back to high school to get his GED after his grill business pretty much fails, and Tiffany Haddish's character is the teacher that's going to help him out. Now, keep in mind, we're just judging by a 2-minute and 30-second preview of the movie, but it looks like, just like her role in The Last OG, Tiffany's more controlled in this performance. She has funny lines, but she's going to let Kevin Hart shine and pretty much play Kevin Hart like he does in every single movie. But hey, that's his strength. I mean, he's done variations of comedies. You can look at Central Intelligence. You can look at The Wedding Ringer, which I still think is his best movie. He has variations, but at the end of the day, he plays Kevin Hart in every movie. And that's what works for him. You know, it's made him a lot of money up to this point, so why stop now? I'm sure at some point we'll get more dramatic performances from him, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the movie Night School hits theaters in September, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot more footage, because I just want to see more footage. Maybe the way this trailer is cut, they don't really show you the best stuff, which is, like I said, it's good, but I just want to get more of a better look at the film. And before I get out of here, we got to talk about this. Late Thursday night, The Weeknd released his latest album, My Dear My Dear M, we'll just say that, My Dear M. And the question I want to know is, who hurt you, my guy? I mean, it's only 6 songs long, but man, in every song you could just feel the hurt. Some people say the album's about Selena Gomez. Some people think it's about Bella Hadid. Some people may even think it's about Becky with the good hair. I don't know, but this man is hurt. Somebody call Sarah McLachlan. She needs to do a In the Arms of an Angel commercial and help Weeknd with his heart. In all seriousness, the album, or EP as the kids these days call it, it's solid stuff. I'd even say it's more of a throwback to some of his earlier music, some of the more gritty stuff before he came to radio. But it's great music. I've been a Weeknd fan for a while now. His name has come up a lot on this show over the years. So if you're a Weeknd fan and for whatever reason you haven't heard his latest stuff, go ahead and check it out. And that will do it for another edition of the Ballistic Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, my social media outlets include on Twitter @IkeBallistic, on Instagram Ballistic Ike Moore, and Facebook. Apparently I had the wrong link the first few times, but the real link to my Facebook page is facebook.com/Ballistic Ike. And until next week, I've been your talented host Ike Moore, reminding you it's okay to be ballistic as long as it's done responsibly. Have a good WrestleMania weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out!